Johnson's ranch in Stonewall, Texas, on assignment for the Sunday Times of London.
Easy man to photograph?
Very difficult man. I flew down there from Los Angeles and had about 20 minutes with him to do this assignment.
What makes him tough?
He's a very powerful man, and you don't fool around with him, and you do what he wants. And I don't think he was a fan of photographers or photography.
See, that's distressing. You really don't think you like photographers?
No, not at all. Especially when they photographed him with his glasses on.
You didn't like that?
No. Wasn't flattering to him.
May I interrupt?
All right, Lyndon, you may.
I just want to say that the show is Talk About Pictures. I'm George Fenneman, and with me is my constant companion and very good photographer, Leigh Wiener. Our guests are Julian Wasser, himself a very successful photographer, whose pictures have appeared in Time, People, and other leading magazines throughout the world. And with him is Rodney Bingenheimer, who does not consider himself a photographer, but has used and worked with pictures for many years. He's now the owner of the world-famous Rodney's English Discotheque.
You know, George, if I may, before I continue, I'd like to say a word about what this series is about. You know, as the technical mystery of photography decreases, and as more and more people take pictures and the popularity of photography increases, we thought this series would be fascinating if we brought in great photographers, both amateurs and professionals, to talk about their work.
And I think we really want to find out is how great photographers think and how they see. And maybe we will right here with our guest. I guess we could, how do you see a picture like this? In other words, you had 20 minutes to take a picture. Were there a lot of people around?
No, just Lucy, his daughter, and the Lenore Hershey, who was the editor of Ladies' Home Journal. This was done in conjunction with the Journal and the Sunday Times.
What kind of camera do you use on this, Julian?
This is done with a motorized Nikon.
What kind of lens?
I think that was a 28.
Question, did the Secret Service look at your cameras before you shot?
No, that time he wasn't president. He didn't have the Secret Service around him every second, the way he did a few years previous to that.
He was vice president when that was shot.
Well, he was out of the White House already.
Oh, after the White House.
After he resigned.
Just, I'm curious, did they have Secret Service around at the time, though?
They did. He had a whole contingent of Secret Service people at the ranch.
From Austin, Texas to where, Julian?
The ladies' room of Rodney Bingenheimer's English Disco.
You did say the ladies' room.
The ladies' room, right.
It's up to you, George. I'll shut up.
You know, I take a picture or two myself, but you just walk right in to the ladies' room?
It's open to the public.
Yeah, well, I mean, but only half of the public, I would think.
That's a good question. Rodney, can men and women use the ladies' restroom?
No, not really. We have both men and women. But this is like the lobby section of the ladies' room.
Ah, so.
Well, that's,
wash your hands.
Oh, I see. Is the men's room in better repair than that? Or,
Oh, yeah.
Was this with natural light or flash? Or,
That's with bounce flash.
Bounce flash.
Right.
Who is the subject?
Is she a groupie?
I don't know what she is. Who is she, Rodney?
I don't know who that is.
Can I ask Rodney just a question before we go on? What is a groupie, Rodney? I mean, is there actually a definition of what a groupie is?
Someone that chases after the rock stars and really doesn't care about their music, just who they are.
You know, it's almost a name chaser.
There's a groupie, and then there's the fan. Yeah.
How does a groupie and a fan differ?
A groupie chases the name, you know, the rock star.
And the fan gets the autograph.
If the fan listens to buys the records, pays $4.50, whatever it costs for the records, and stands in line to get into the concert.
This is you. Did Julie Douche take that?
Yeah. That's Rodney with Paul McCartney.
Was that shot on assignment?
That was on an assignment for Time. Paul was doing a record album with Peggy Lee.
Bounce flash?
Straight flash, right into his face.
Do you use anything else besides Nikons?
No, that's all at the moment.
Have you ever met any of the rock stars? I mean, they use photographs a lot. Do any of them object to having their pictures taken?
Well, Paul's wife is a very good photographer, Linda McCartney, so he's into photography, doesn't mind it at all. Some of them may, but I would, none that I've run into.
I like this one, Rodney.
Who is Rodney with there? Is that...
Lance Loud.
Oh, from the television show. The family that got divorced on television.
That's it.
Yeah.
Also flash?
Also flash. Rodney's is pitch black. You have to use flash in there.
Oh, it is?
Right. No light.
I'll ask Rodney this, I guess. Would Lance Loud be having his picture taken with you if his mother and father hadn't been on television, do you think?
Probably. I just thought everybody has their pictures taken with me.
Oh.
They do.
Does he have talent? Does Lance?
He's in a group now, I think.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's avoiding the question. Does he have talent?
I don't know. I haven't heard his band yet. Imagine they would.
Julian, this is something rather, it's an awfully good picture. Tell us about that.
This was taken about 3 minutes before Bobby Kennedy was shot. This was at the Ambassador Hotel. He had just announces his victory in the California primary, and right from this position he went back into the kitchen and was shot. And I think this was a union official in Los Angeles area who was also shot by Sirhan, and all these people followed him right out the side into the kitchen where the shooting took place a few minutes later.
That was one of the last pictures they had. You
Right.
shot of him then.
And Bill Epridge from Life was with him in the back and got the pictures of the actual shooting.
Julian, would you mind if I asked you to kill that cigarette in deference to Rodney's lung and my health? That's a nice.
That's Liz Taylor, of course.
Liz Taylor at the Academy Awards, right?
Rodney, is that a good picture, Liz Taylor? Why?
Because the colors in it, the yellow and the daisies. The daisies in here and the daisies in the dress.
Julian, was it a grab shot?
That was a grab shot with the wrong kind of color film. It was taken with daylight color, tungsten light, violating all of Kodak's rules. But I think it came up nice and warm. It was very flattering to her.
Question. Were you the only photographer there?
No, there were several others.
Do you consider yourself part of the American paparazzi?
No.
Is there such a thing as the American paparazzi?
Thousands, especially in Hollywood, right?
There are. What is a paparazzi, Julian?
Paparazzi is a...
Your definition.
Let's see. He's a freelance photographer that hangs around nightclubs, any sort of event where stars turn out, photographs them and sells them to fan magazines.
Richard Kramer.
This picture of Liz Taylor made a
That's
cover.
the same
made
take,
a cover,
right.
same take. Now I want to ask you a question about the paparazzi and you. How do the officials, or people who are pushing people away, differentiate between a paparazzi and someone who's legitimate like yourself, working for a magazine?
They don't.
That makes your job easy.
Yeah.
Seriously, you mean you're just pegged like the rest of us?
In a crunch like that, we're all the same, right?
At the expense of maybe losing a friend, that isn't a terribly flattering picture of Liz Taylor on the cover of Coronet, is it?
Well, I think the original was, but by the time it was printed,
it does happen,
blown up.
doesn't it?
It was cropped up. The section was cropped up, and it lost a lot of its flavor and
But
color.
if you had your druthers, if you were shooting her person, you would have gone up at least 3 feet, right?
Right.
I mean, the double chins and the nose and nostrils.
No.
You would have moved up at least 2 or 3
I
feet,
think I would have
right?
stood on a ladder and shot down.
Exactly.
To get rid of all that.
And of course, you would have increased the value of the money.
Right.
Which is right down here.
Well, talking about, but go ahead.
You don't know what I'm talking, George.
No.
I don't believe that.
Who were these people?
That's a friend of Rodney's. Tell him about that.
Yeah, that's Elton John.
No.
That's Elton John.
That's a fact. He's wearing the exact outfit he's wearing on his album cover. It's out now. Chateau.
Are clothes important to Elton John?
I think so, to him, yeah.
Are pictures which he appears in important to Elton John?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's very flash and very, he's very wild on stage. And
let me ask you, both of you, a question. Do you think these rock stars could have made it without photography and television to portray the visual look that they
Well, I think
sell?
Elton John could have, because he's a very, very good musician, very talented, and a very good performer. And it's not the clothes. I mean, you could put him in anything, you know, a pinstripe suit, and he'd be a terrific performer.
Would you say that's true of the majority of the rock stars today?
A lot of them do need the costumes and do need the hype, but I don't think this guy does.
Julian, when you're shooting these people for assignments, do they know when they look best? Do they tell you how they want to be photographed?
No, they're not visually oriented. They really aren't, which is too bad.
You'd think they would be with television. This is the generation that grew up with television.
I think they know how they like to look, but they don't really know how they look at any given moment.
You know, Leigh and I feel like we're your fathers. We're dressed, you know, and you, sir. Yeah, those are, what, silk overalls?
Well, wait, that's an interesting point, though, Rodney. If you came to work tonight at your club, dressed like I am, what do you think your clients would say?
They wouldn't know who I was. They wouldn't let me in.
Well, in that respect, then, I think the clothes people wear, you know, whether it's an IBM salesman or you're like yourself or me. Let me ask you, Julian, as a photographer, would you wear what Rodney is wearing to photograph Lyndon Johnson again, or let's say Richard Nixon?
Well,
Well, I'd like to do that.
No, would you?
I would like to, but I don't think I could get away with it. No.
Well, you'd like no. A lot of things we'd like to do, but do you
But,
think
you know,
you
I
could
have
do
I
it?
have a Mickey Mouse camera, you know, like Mickey Mouse's head.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to take that on a White House job, but you know, I've always
beautiful.
been afraid to.
Rodney, do you use pictures in your nightclub?
All the time, constantly.
What kind of pictures?
Slides.
Projected while the
Yeah,
people are dancing and
Yeah, on screens. We have
kind of like a
clear
light
screens.
show and a happening kind of thing.
Who took them?
Julian, Julian's taken some, Mike Atkinson, Richard Kramer, and myself, and my partner Tom Ayers.
What kind yourself?
Instamatic. I prefer Instamatic.
You use an Instamatic?
Yeah.
And you actually use some of those photographs with Instamatic?
Yeah.
in yours?
There's never a mistake with an Instamatic. They always come out perfect.
I think there's an awfully big company in New York. Boy, we'd like you here to say that. Tell us about this.
That's Mark Bowen of T-Rex at Santa Monica Civic at his last U.S. concert here.
Julian, was that available light?
That's available light, right? You can't beat that. Stage lighting for rock concerts is terrific, really terrific.
What kind of lens?
This was shot from my seat. I finally got a good seat because I bought it myself. I was in the first row and shot that with a 35mm lens, wide angle, right from my seat without moving.
You were close, weren't you?
Yeah.
High-speed ectochrome daylight?
Right, pushed 2.5 stops.
It's a very nice picture.
That was shot for Bravo as a German rock magazine.
And how about this one?
That was done in my living room in a
That's
set
great.
I built.
You're kidding.
When Nixon, oh, that's not Nixon, is it? That's when Ronald Reagan was first became governor of California.
You built a
That
set you built?
The blow-up was made. The microphones were rented from Burns and Sawyer and borrowed from NBC and set up to duplicate a press conference shot.
Let me ask you something, Julian. You shoot a lot of news pictures, right?
Right.
For the magazines, things
Right.
like this. Has any editor ever told you to make a man or woman look bad?
Never happened.
Have you ever been asked to
No.
slant a photograph in one way, you know,
No.
go low and have a meeting?
I really don't think they do that anymore. That may have been in, you know, far in the past, but I just don't think that goes. I think people are too sophisticated now.
Well, we've seen
They
pictures
wouldn't buy
of
that.
we've seen pictures of Lyndon Johnson now and Reagan, and you've never been told to make them look good or bad.
No, I think my position is to make them look the way they are.
And your own feelings never get in the way?
No, my
you can't allow that, can you?
professional feelings and private feelings are totally separate.
You do have to keep them
right.
separate.
You really think you can keep them separate?
Absolutely, you have to.
Tell us about that picture then.
This was shot for Rolling Stone of the Ellsbergs about 10 minutes after the case was dismissed in federal court in Los Angeles.
Is that a
It's one
pose
of my
photograph?
favorite shots. They were coming down the street, and this was their feeling. I mean, they're showing the way they feel at the time, and they were carrying the paper. And it's one of my favorite pictures. I was
It
very
is a good
pleased to
picture.
take that.
I think it's a swell picture.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that maybe the newspaper belonged to Julian Wasser.
No. There was a news rack right outside the courthouse, and they picked up that paper every day. They came out of the trial.
It's a good picture.
It is.
Rodney, is that shot in your place?
No, I think it's a rock concert at Santa Monica Civic. That's Silverhead.
You know them all, don't you?
Yeah.
Where is rock going in both sound and dress? Will they continue to be dressed like that? Is that what the future holds?
Get more outrageous.
Yeah.
More
Have to
outrageous.
outdo each other.
To what point, either of you?
I don't know. I would think if they could get away with murder, they would. There'd be killings on stage.
Do you think there actually is violence?
Well, I think it's pretty close to the surface now. Very close.
Well, what is what is it, cross-dressing or
I mean, it's sort of
the glitter, they call it,
bisexual
yeah, the
glitter look.
bisexual,
Yeah, this is very fashionable now, especially in Rodney's club. Can't tell the girls from the boys there many
Julian,
times.
who starts these fashions? Photographs, or the stars, or the people? I mean, what comes first?
The stars start.
The stars
They're
start.
photographed and it spreads.
This is a very good picture. Tell us about this. That's a nice look.
oh yeah.
I saw a special lens advertised in a camera magazine. Went out and bought the thing in New York and used it at a concert. It's called a repeater lens.
Yeah.
You twist it around, you get a lot of very interesting effects with it. And I shot this for a Bravo poster. It's made into a poster in Germany. This group is, who is that? Slade? Yeah.
I wonder
Slade.
if Ouija turned over in his grave when the Bravo and that new lens came out.
Yeah, I wish
He did all that
right.
stuff
Ouija
from the
glass,
beginning, you know.
Tank-type prisms
Yeah.
and things. That's very nice. What kind of camera was that?
That was taken with a, I think a 200mm telephoto on a Nikon with a repeater lens on it.
Do you shoot mostly?
Excuse me, just a minute. You call it Nikon,
Right.
and you call it Nikon. You're both
Well,
photographers.
Japanese call it Nikon.
Oh, do they?
Right.
Well, I got something going wrong. But I'm an American.
Well,
Julian, I saw you come in with a camera. Do you have it with you?
I do, right
I'd like to
here.
see that, if I may.
The latest one, completely unavailable in this country.
Unavailable in what respect?
You can't get it.
that's unavailable.
Why?
Because
What is it about you can't get?
I got this through Time in Tokyo. I
Yeah.
waited 6 months for this. It's totally automatic camera. Everything's adjusted for you. All you do is aim and shoot.
Aim and shoot.
Aim and shoot it. It adjusts the f-stops, does everything for
Aim
you.
and shoot.
Did you ever hear of a man named Stieglitz?
Expensive Instamatic.
Stieglitz, did he have one of these?
Did you ever hear of a man named
Yes, I
Stieglitz?
did.
Stieglitz, who was a very,
I
George
know.
knows a lot about him, Rodney. Stieglitz, when George Eastman came out in the early 1900s, and he came up with an ad campaign for his camera that says, "Simply point, we'll do all the rest." Stieglitz was so outraged he would never use Kodak film again. When I'm leading up to Julian, do you think this automatic feature takes away any of your abilities?
No, it adds to it. You can concentrate on making a good picture. You don't
Thank
have to.
you, Julian. I
no
agree with you.
technical problems to overcome.
What does a device like that without the lens cost?
In Japan, this body and this attachment is about $1,100 now.
Wow.
So that'll make it roughly about, what,
It'd be
1,600 here? 1,700
Yeah,
here?
about 1,700, right.
Very nice.
What lens do you have on
This is a zoom, 80 to 200 zoom.
You carry a lot. That's a lot of camera.
Right, it's a heavy camera.
That's
It's
a
about
heavy
8 pounds.
camera.
Julian, is that, all you do is use his Nikon, is that right?
Right.
I thought maybe he'd forget he brought it.
Well, why don't we put it over here so in case
All
he
right.
forgets it, we can get it, George. All right? Julian, who is that?
That's Frank Zappa of the Mothers of Invention with the GTOs, Girls Together Only, his little groupie group.
Was that shot with a straight color film?
That's shot with infrared in the shade.
Right. And
Yeah,
you
that's a nice feeling. I like that picture.
It does.
Yeah.
No, this photo's never been used. Never been
Really?
used. No.
It looked like an album cover.
That'd be a good album cover.
It wasn't
yeah.
far out enough.
you're serious about that?
Truly, yeah.
That's a nice photograph. You like that, George?
Yeah, well, I saw that. I know. That's been published. There was an article on, yes, there it is, Newsweek.
This was
right?
taken in the mid-'60s. That's Jan Smithers.
Thing on
shooting.
teens.
16 at the time.
This girl?
San Fernando Valley schoolgirl. Absolutely didn't want to do it. We had to go to her mother to get permission to do it. Her mother forced her to pose for the picture. She's now an actress. She's done several films.
Really?
Right.
Julian, let me ask you a question. This is shot about a 300 millimeter lens.
2 or 3, I'm not sure which. It was so long ago.
How many days? I mean, I notice you have it. Looks like first of all, the boy is different. You changed either costume.
Well, I had a real problem with that. I had to do it over about 5 times because the magazine didn't like the color of the sweater. Everything had to be redone and redone, and they went with the original shot finally.
When you redo things like
Beautiful.
that, do you get
Beautiful.
paid 5 times?
In this case, you do. In advertising, I know you don't, but in this you do.
In this, they paid you
Right.
for the 5 different
If you're
days.
forced to redo a good shot, you get paid for it.
And they did use the one
They used the
first
original
group.
one, right.
That's
I'll ask a dumb question for one photographer to ask another one, but did they use the picture you think was the best one to take?
I liked it. I was happy with it.
You were happy with
Right.
it. That's not very common.
That is a good picture. I like the one they chose too.
She's got a great look.
Doesn't
Really
she? Yeah.
Fine look.
Here's another nice look.
This is a personal friend of Rodney, Susie Quattro. She's from Detroit. No one in this country knows who she is. She's the hottest female rock star in the whole world. Very, very
Susie
hot now,
Quattro.
right?
Rodney, do you figure that your discotheque helps promote a rock star?
Yeah, it does.
In what capacity? What way?
And just by the constant crowd that come there and just playing the records over and over.
The records. What did you play? The top 30, the top 50,
the English top 30, top 40.
the English top 40.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they might not be popular here, they could be
Like
popular.
Susie Quattro her records only out in England. Right? So I got a hold of her records and started playing them in the club. Now they released them here, and now she's making it big here now.
I wanted to do a story on her for Time, and I called her record company here about 6 months ago. They literally, the secretary did not know who she was, and she was their hottest act.
You're kidding.
Right.
That's terrible.
Let me more important. Did Time want to do a story on her?
Well, they're interested in her.
They
yes.
are interested. Julian, many of your pictures for the magazines, do they come from the editor's assignment or from your own ideas?
From Time or
Any of
from
the
Time?
magazines.
Most of them are from the editors.
What would you tell a young man or woman, girl or boy, if they want to get in the business doing what you're doing? How do you make it and make money doing what you're doing?
Well, you just hang in there year in, year out, and you keep pushing and hustling and calling, and you finally make it.
How many years did you hang in there?
Well, I was lucky. I was successful pretty soon. But even then, you have to outdo yourself every time, and there's no reason you get an assignment or don't get one. It's almost like a matter of luck. For instance, I'm convinced showing a portfolio is of very little importance.
Doesn't mean a thing, does it?
Because there are hundreds of people with them, and the editors don't like to look at them, and they assign certain days in New York when they will look at them, and they skim through them, and it doesn't mean anything. Whereas if a friend calls up and says, "Hey, we need a picture, can you call this guy?" The editor will call and assign someone.
How did you get this assignment?
That was, that came from time. And Liv Ullmann happened to be in Los Angeles at the time for the opening of her last film. What was that?
The Immigrants?
The Immigrants, right. And she was there, and I was there, and I was assigned to do it.
That's right. Do you like that picture?
Yeah.
She had a very severe look. She was married at a very early age. She was married to Bergman. She never had really a teenage.
Was she married to him?
Yeah,
or just
she was
living
married.
with him?
No, wasn't she? Oh, she was living
Living
with him
with
and
him,
had a kid with
yes,
him, right?
I think she was.
But she never really had that teenage scene that goes on in this country. She's very severely
With this
severe
picture,
look.
Julian, do you think this picture would appeal to much of the clientele at Rodney's?
No, I don't think so. Maybe some of the girls.
What do you think, Rodney?
Well, we showed just about everything. I think it would. Or a slideshow.
You think would you use that picture in a slideshow?
No.
Why not?
Julian never gave me a copy.
I'll tell you one more anecdote about this. I had her hair done in this very soft, sort of sexy way, and it sort of became a new look for her.
If Julian gave you a copy of this for your slideshow, would you use it?
Sure.
Would you use this?
It's probably in the show already.
Yeah, I think we would.
Tell me about that, Julian.
These are Tom and Renee. They're two models that were hired by Rudi Gernreich to show his fashions of the future a couple of years ago.
Right.
Took them to Japan and all over the world to show them.
Right.
And the first process was to shave their heads. This was the beginning of the unisex look.
You know, I think